Here is the absolute last ditch effort to try to find satisfactory DEL bulbs to use in the living room. If I don't find these satisfactory, I am not testing any more DEL bulbs for that room. I'm just going to spend the money to stock up on the halogens, and that's the end of the situation. So these are Warm Glow by Philips, which I have to admit are actually really cool in concept. And although it doesn't say it anywhere on the box, the advertisement for these suggested that they are eye care, which is supposed to have some kind of stricter criteria for flicker and glare and so forth. I've tried some snow cone bulbs from Philips that were labeled eye care, and I could not use them. An item of curiosity. I was at the grocery store today, and although I don't buy light bulbs every time I go, I always go down the aisle that has the light bulbs because sometimes the appliance bulbs that I like, the incandescent ones, will be on sale. Ever since the store sold off the remaining stock of the halogen bulbs, there have been some empty spots on the shelf, and over the last couple of months various new DEL bulbs have been filling those spaces. Today I noticed there is a new model of DEL snow cone bulb. It was under the store brand. It was one of the cheapest ones there, and in pretty significant lettering and sizing on the packaging it said reduced eye strain. And I found that very intriguing because that leads me to believe that I am not the only one that gets a headache from DEL lighting and finds it to be very uncomfortable. Not only am I not the only one, but it must be a significant portion of the population, because it would not be worth the time and investment and money of whatever the OEM was that made those bulbs to advertise something on the product's packaging that applies to 0.1% of the population and never return the investment. So there must be a larger number of people than are making themselves known that have a significant problem using DEL lighting in indoor general illumination scenarios. So that was very interesting to me. These bulbs are extremely expensive. They are about $11 a piece, which will make it cost upwards of $300 to buy these bulbs for the living room, should they actually work and be satisfactory. That's $300 more than I want to spend, but the halogen bulbs are not going to be easy to find within a couple years. Somebody had mentioned recently, I think it was actually the same person that mentioned the fixtures, that R14 incandescent reflectors are still available. And I've tried to find out what exactly the regulation is, and it seems like it's very frustrating to me that the documentation is not clear. There's a document that underscores what's available and what's not available, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of pages. To me, it's word salad with a side of brain rot. I mean, it's awful, and it's annoying because this stuff should be written in plain English so that the average consumer can read it in a reasonable amount of time and understand what the heck is going on. And it's not written that way. And I'm an informed consumer and I still struggle to understand what it says. I think what it says is that reflectors less than 16, so R14 I guess, and lower, are allowed to be sold still. Meanwhile, reflectors R16 and up are not allowed to be sold. It seems like R14 is available most commonly in 25 watts There exists some 40 watts, but I think those are on the way out or just not very popular. Could not find a lot of listings for them. The R14 25 watts I could find in abundance, but I just don't think so that R14 is 25 watts of anything is going to be bright enough. So here we go with these. Take a look at the box here. 50 watts equivalent using 7 watts. That's not particularly efficient. You really should be able to get this down to like 1 or 2 watts if designed properly for a 50 watts equivalent. Soft white light. Warm glow dimmable light. The more you dim, the warmer the light. PAR20 lasts 22 years, right? $0.84 per year to operate. Wonder what electrical rate that's at. 11 cents per kilowatt. It allegedly saves $118 in energy cost. And you see that there's all these asterisks everywhere, which is usually just means that something's a lie. %70 of the initial light output. So allegedly, when this thing has surpassed its lifespan, it's not considered past its lifespan until it only works 70% as good as it used to. And then of course it says 3 hours per day, which I think is not an accurate representation of a typical use case. 500 lumens per bulb is okay. That's a little bit on the low side for a 50 watts equivalent. A standard 60 watt incandescent can be as high as like 830. On the low side, 550 maybe. There's a lot of variance in the bulbs from brand to brand and so forth, but this is on the lower side for sure. The bulb itself is pretty heavy, which is usually a good sign. It appears to be plastic with some glass on the back. 500 lumens dimmable, 7 watts, 2200 to 2700 Kelvin, made in the China DEL lamp. Philips. Well, here we go. Now, my biggest concern is if I buy $300 worth of these light bulbs and then I find out that I sit in the room and it gives me a headache, then what am I going to do? So I would have to really thoroughly test these if it seems decent. Alright, I've got it connected to this dimmer thing, but I want to run it straight first. So we are testing at 118 volts on the nose. I'll go over to the watts and turn this on. It says 0.8 the watts, 0.08 the amps, and only 0.8 the power factor, which is pretty pathetic. Okay, so let's zoom this thing in and see, does it get banding? Nope. There's no banding that I can detect. Looks perfectly fine. I'm going to shut off the studio lights here. I don't see any banding on the camera at all. It's harsh to look at, but that's kind of normal for a bulb like this because the lighting is concentrated. As far as the quality of light goes, I'm actually really impressed. It has that incandescent look to it. The quality of light is really clean. The color rendering is good. It's reasonable so far. It's not bad. Let's plug it into the dimmer thing and see how it dims. Because that is important, because I do use these lights in the living room dimmed most of the time. Okay, that's full brightness. Is it instant on? Pretty much. Oh, we got a little bit of strobing here. That is really cool how the coloring goes down as it dims. That's really, really neat. Let's take this upstairs, and I'm going to stick it in one of the fixtures so we can get a side-by-side comparison. Oh, before we do that, I want to see what the power consumption is like as it dims. That's 8 watts, 7 watts, 6 watts, 5 watts, 4 watts, 3 watts, and now the meter's not picking it up, so it's probably like 2 watts. Power factor 0.4. So the power factor is just horrible on this thing. So something about the power supply on this is not built quite right, which is surprising considering how little flicker there seemed to be. It must have smoothing capacitors and stuff that are pretty satisfactory. So let's move upstairs into the living room. I've got 2 of the bulbs here. I'll stick them in one of the fixtures and let's see how it compares. Alright, here we go. Lights are installed into one of these fixtures here in the frame. It's not 100% instant on, there's a very slight delay, but it's satisfactory. So the DEL is on the right, and the incandescent, or the halogen rather, technically, or halogen, is on the left. And let's see. It's not immediately a problem. I'm looking at one of the other bulbs here. It's just as blinding because it's concentrated light. I don't know. It's a different kind of discomfort. It's uncomfortable to look at both of them, but this one, I don't know. Like it's blinding. Like it makes you want to squint, but I don't feel like it's going to give me a headache. This one, when I look up at this one, I don't know. It's a different kind of discomfort. I don't know. I think what I'm going to have to do is maybe I'll bring these bulbs to work and I'll put them in my lamps in my office where they will be the primary source of light and see what happens. They're pretty good, I'll give them that much. These are pretty good compared to some of the other ones I've tested, but I'm not sure that they're 100%. Let's see how the dimming works, how the color matches. Very close. Very, very close. But they don't go all the way down. I want them down lower than that. There's a defect in the dimming scale. I'll show up in the video, but it kind of jumps from the amber color to the more white color abruptly, right around there. I gotta say it's not bad compared to other ones I've tested. I'm just not sure that it's going to be 100% though. Because sometimes I do turn it down. Let's see, how low would I normally use it? I might normally use it right around there. And that's not as low as those go. I think that writes it off. It's a shame because the coloring is very good. It's very, very close. But it just doesn't go down quite low enough. Yeah, see now I can I don't know, there's something about it that's not right, because if I stand over here and look up at the lights, I feel nothing in my eyes. It's perfectly comfortable. But if I come over here and I look up at this fixture, it makes me squint. So something's not quite right about it. Nope. Not gonna work. These are very close. This is very, very close, but it's not going to work. So that's it. I am officially writing off DEO bulbs for the living room, and we're going to just have to start stocking up on these halogens, or if I can find reflectors that are still available that work. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for this room. We're getting these new. I've ordered the new lights. Problem is the A19s, although they fit, they don't make any sense because a lot of the light gets lost inside the fixture. Now, I use the A19s in the kitchen fixtures and I don't have that problem, and I think it's because the fixtures are white and they're a little bit bigger. These are smaller and the baffle is black, and so it absorbs a lot of light that's not reflected out of the can. So I think that's our difference, and that's the problem. But yeah, I got to do something to get sustainable light bulbs in here. So, well, it almost worked, but I can see the difference, and it's just not quite right.